Last week, we might have hoped that it was David who would be the one to restore everything. He was a man after God's own heart, after all. But because of his adulterous ways and the murder that he used to cover it up, he couldn't be the one to restore us into righteous fellowship with God. His son Solomon looked like a great candidate as well, being so wise and wealthy and constructing the temple. But his heart turned away and he followed other gods. We'd be freaking out right now if we'd been reading carefully, because God promised that the Messiah would be coming through one of the woman's descendants, then it was through one of Abraham's descendants, then it was through one of Judah's descendants, and then we were told it would be through the line of David. But with the kingdom split, it doesn't look like anything's going to happen. Even the best two candidates, Hezekiah and Josiah, didn't bring about the restitution that we were hoping for. In fact, Hezekiah proves to be very selfish in his old age, and Josiah ends up dying in a battle that God told him not to fight in. After the destruction of the temple in 586 BC, the people were carried into exile in Babylon for 70 years. This is where the books of Daniel and Ezekiel take place, explaining what life was like outside of the land of promise. After 70 years, the people returned to the promised land under Ezra and the governor Zerubbabel. At this time, the temple was rebuilt, but God's presence didn't come upon it as it did Solomon's temple. Nehemiah followed shortly after this to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. And that's pretty much where the story of the Old Testament ends, without the promised one having come to restore all things. So we're wondering, why hasn't this person come? Will he still be coming? Because looking back over the Old Testament, no one brought about the restitution that was promised. So we should be wondering, who is this person? Is he still going to come? What's happened to God's plan to restore everything to himself? Even the best candidates haven't made the world the way it should be, according to God's promise to the woman in the garden. And the Old Testament ends in this very unfulfilled manner. We're still waiting for the promised one to restore all things to God himself.